This video was funded by Maker Studios.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you're from.
Welcome to the first episode of It's More Than. It's new, it's uncharted territory, it's awesome.
Yeah. Think you know something?
Want to know something?
Well, you're in the right place, because this is More Than, a show where it's dedicated to finding out behind the scenes, as well as finding out different things about things random.
Let's go! Power Rangers.
Power Rangers?
You know, that kids show from the 90s.
I know Power Rangers, kids with attitude, multicoloured suits, Zords. Aye, Saturday mornings were awesome!
Well, I wonder whatever happened to it.
Well, let's find out.
But it's just a kids show.
Is it? Or is it more than?
Is this our first premise?
I totally think it is. Now let me get my beard on and let's go!
Let's rock it! So we're travelling down to MCM, the largest pop culture convention in the UK. We're bound to find some Power Ranger fans there.
We wanted to know what makes a fandom to them and talk about their experiences with the franchise. The first question I asked them was, what was the fandom to them?
Fandom to me is people who like a certain film or cartoon or anything like that, and they all sort of come together as a bit of a community for that, to appreciate everything about it.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's that community feel, isn't it? So it's finding people with the same sort of enjoyment as you, which is really nice that we can do things like this and all meet up and get amazing photos.
My biggest fandom is original Power Rangers that I like being a kid. I always watch them, I collect them, DVD.
Love and passion that everyone has for the same show, same series.
After finding out what a fandom is to them, it was now time to ask them what got them into it.
I mean, I'm particularly focusing on the costumes, so I love making costumes. So to me, the way that they update everything, the way that they change the helmets, all that kind of thing, that's what I really like.
I think most of us here, if not all of us here, are doing this because we watched it as a kid, and it's just like, for me, it's just my earliest memory. And seeing all the toys and everything like that, I had them all. My mum threw them all away. I'll never forgive her for that. But it's just an early memory, and now we can sort of relive it a little bit.
No other show has the likes of Megazords, like the Dragon Zord, the Tiger Zord, or even the terrible 90s villains like Rita Zed, the Machine Empire. There's just not another show that can beat that poor level of entertainment.
We also wanted to know what was their first memory that stood out the most when watching the show.
I think it is just when the Green Ranger first appeared on, because he started bad and turned good. And as a kid, there's just pretty much every Power Rangers episode is just a massive metaphor for a life lesson, basically, obviously being good and treating people right and all that sort of thing. So the Green Ranger started out bad and then he turned good, started helping people. So as a young kid, you kind of take that on board and you go, it's better to be good than bad, obviously.
When they started to lose their powers, they were all still supporting each other, even through kind of bad times.
When we seen the White Ranger costume, we're like, wow, that looked amazing.
The 6-episode arc in Zeo, when at the end of each episode there'd be a different theory as to who the Gold Ranger was, and at the end of it they bring Jason back, who was my favourite Ranger. I thought that was quite intriguing, the way they'd change it up every episode.
So after finding out from the fans, we have decided that we need to go on yet another road trip to find out more about this fandom that takes us to the heart of the matter, its fans and its legacy. So we're off to America, to a convention known as Ranger Stop.
We're talking about fandoms, so what is a fandom to you?
I think fandom is when you like a certain show or culture.
The fandom to me, I started with Power Rangers when I was itty bitty, wee little. It got me into karate, loved it. I started watching it with my little brother. It was a good way for us to connect.
Group of people that likes the same thing.
We asked the same question again, and what was the most memorable moment from the show?
Recent episode of Power Rangers Down in Charge is when I think Chase was sort of making fun of Shelby for her liking this very unknown, New Zealand band, to the point to where he felt guilty about it. For me, I kind of emphasized a little bit with Shelby because as a kid I was made fun of a lot for watching Power Rangers.
The moment where Andros was about to save the world and he had to destroy Zordon to do it.
It always comes back to the Halloween episodes. They always had really cool costumes that kind of subtly hinted to they were the Power Rangers.
I love Mystic Force at the very end, I believe in magic thing.
That gave
it's
me
very
goosebumps.
energized, yeah.
The next question made sense, and it was, what made you want to watch Power Rangers?
When I came across Power Rangers, I watched the very first episode, Day of the Dumpster. I was like, it's a really cool show. It was something different, something new, and I was like, I can tell I had a feeling something that it would catch on, which it did.
We just had it on the TV was like Kids WB or whatever was on the Saturday morning cartoons, and saw it on the TV. Loved it. Parents weren't too thrilled about it because it was kind of rough, but that kept us active.
With the show doing so well, we asked what they think has kept it going for so long.
I think what kept it going is the fact that the creators like Saban and Nolan, I think they all thought of like new creative ways to keep the franchise going.
I think it's mostly because of me. Well, I think it's reinventing itself every year, so it's always something new. There's always new characters, new powers, new vehicles, new Zors, new weapons, new themes, new bad guys, new everything.
After hearing the amazing stories from the fans, we decided to ask the Rangers similar questions. First off, when they were younger, what fandoms were they into?
Kung Fu theater. I was watching, Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, Yun Bio. I was like, there's all those, Billy Chong. Like those guys, those are the guys I looked up to. Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, all that stuff,
I liked Sailor Moon a lot. I liked, I had a crush on Batman for some reason. Power Rangers, I just specifically remember in space was like a big thing for me. I remember hearing like the theme song come on TV and I get super excited.
I actually was obsessed with the Ewoks, and people are really always surprised by that answer, but I watched them every day. I don't know, I was the stereotypical girl that watched, Care Bears and My Little Pony and that sort of thing too, but...
We also asked some of the Rangers on why they thought the show had been so successful.
I think it's just that it was a simple story, and the structure was very simple, and it was bright and colorful with all the different colors, and there's a lot of action.
It's a fun show, and I think why it's been around for so long, because they really stick to it, and they haven't really changed much. Even the monsters are still those like cheesy rubber big things, and the giant Megazord, like it's the same stuff the last 20 years, and I think that's why the fans have stayed so loyal to it.
Well, I put my beard away.
Who would have imagined that a kids show would have a fandom that went that deep?
Even the Rangers themselves watched the previous Rangers to get inspiration as well as just enjoy it as part of their fandom, and even with family units getting together and watching the show.
With its emphasis on teamwork, unity, its messages on bullying and drugs in the past, it is understandable how this show has had such an impact on people's lives. It's no wonder it's managed to survive for this long. I kind of want to know more about fandoms now.
Well, let's find out. I'm Mark.
I'm Jonny.
And that was More Than a Premise.